Hey guys, welcome to Atari Street 7. I'm reviewing this, which is the Imaginext XL Superman. So really cool, really blessed to pick this up. And this is the extra large version of Superman. This is part of the new Imaginext XL series where they're making like 12-inch versions of their smaller stuff. They're really just taking like regular molds that already exist and blowing them up a little bit. I do think the Superman looks a little bit different here with his hair, so this might be a new sculpt, but I believe this is pretty much the same sculpt we've seen before, just made larger. And regardless, I think it looks really cool. I love that Imaginext is doing a larger scale figure line. I've said for years, even in some of my previous videos, how I wish Imaginext would do this, and I was so happy when they announced this series at Toy Fair. But we got DC Super Friends, we got the Imaginext logo. On the back here, we have some awesome artwork of the Daily Planet and Superman busting through a wall here. And I really like this artwork too. This is the only series that they've done artwork for in Imaginext, and they did the same thing for the XL Batman, and presumably they will for the Flash. So I think this is pretty cool. And yeah, let's open this up. And here we have Superman, and as you can see, he's very tall, very cool here. And I really like details on the eyes. I think they're good. They're blue. He's got his eyebrows, got a big smile on his face. He's Superman. He's supposed to be happy. The details on the hair is very nice as well. And I like the little curl there. He's got the giant S shield, which looks very good. He's got the red, a yellow belt. A lot of the Supermans we've seen have had red belts in this mold, but I think there's been a few that have had yellow belts too. He's got the molded details on his shoulders. You know, it kind of resembles the DCU Superman suit a little bit with that little side thing, but again, doesn't really. Then he's got his little knee pads and the details on his boots. And you can see his shoes there. Copyrighted 2019 Mattel. And then on the back he has his cape. And I mentioned this with the Batman review, the cape that they're using is not the same material that they use for the smaller Imaginext. This cape material is very much in line with what they were using for their True Move series when they made the 12-inch DC figures, and it was also the style of cape that they have been using for a lot of their final 6-inch figures before they lost the rights completely to Mcfarlane. Mattel can still produce Imaginext toys and some of the preschool toys and some of the more and I think some of the DC Superhero Hero Girls toys too, they can keep making them. It's kind of weird how they split up the rights between the companies, but you know, obviously Imaginext was one of the things that was actually doing really good, probably one of the best things that Mattel had at their time with DC, so obviously they let them keep making that for the time being. I do feel like Imaginext will end pretty soon, or at least the DC side of it, but regardless, I think it's really cool. And Articulations, the same as the smaller figures. You got a 360 at the head, 360 at the arms. They swing out the shoulder. I'm having to do this with one hand. You got a 360 at the wrist there, which is pretty cool. And then they have that sitting down joint. So yeah, exactly the same. Very cool. Now here's a comparison with Mini Superman, just to give you like a scale size of how big new Superman is. Here's a comparison with the Mcfarlane Toys Batman, just to kind of show you. This is like a 7-inch figure, so these things are pretty tall. They're about 12 inches. You can also see a little bit, too, of how they kind of changed the mold a little bit. But for the most part, it is relatively the same. Just some differences. You know, it's bigger. You can kind of see the details a little bit better, so that's cool. Here's a comparison with the Clayface style figures, and this is the same height as Mongrel and Doomsday. So if you want a Superman that's gianter than them, this is definitely the Superman to pick up. And now, finally, here's a comparison with the XL Batman. So very cool to see these two together. I absolutely love the concept of this. Like I said, I've been saying for years, Imaginext should make larger scale figures. They would do really good. And you know, right now these are only available on online. It's hard to say if they're going to come to stores or not. Personally, I feel like we will see these in stores, but considering how weird Mattel is on distribution and whatnot, it's just really hard to say because, I mean, they'll make stuff and then never release it. That's obviously the worst thing about Mattel, is just their distribution. So hopefully these will come to stores soon. There is one more in the series, which is Flash, which is currently unavailable online and in store. I do hope to pick him up eventually when he becomes available and hopefully review them all together. But regardless, I think Mattel has done a really good job with both Batman and Superman in this series. I think they've captured what made the smaller versions of them really fun and really cool, and I definitely think this is something that collectors in the Imaginext community are going to love, and I definitely think it's something that the kids in the Imaginext community is going to love too. You know, obviously Imaginext over the years has kind of grown and kind of developed a little bit in terms of like just kind of what it's intended to be. It definitely has a lot of fans, and I think this is going to please all sides of the Imaginext fans. Thank you for watching. Please rate, like, and subscribe.